Imagine he opens it and he says, "We heard some Van Halen here. My name is David Lee Roth, and I'm right across the hall." And he's laughing. Now, it is funny what he's saying because he's the lead singer of Van Halen, and he's David Lee Roth, and he's across the hall. But if people don't know who he is, it sounds like he's complaining. So he's saying, we heard Van Halen here, which is like loud rock music. My name is David Lee Roth, and I'm across the hall. And they see an older guy, and these young men who were behind there, I don't know if they're having a bachelor party or whatever. There's a bunch of guys.
I think it was a bachelor party.
Yeah. It looked like a bunch of guys on a weekend getaway or something. And they sort of got the impression like they were disturbing him, and they felt bad. And it was like, he goes, "We're off to EDC," and then he kept repeating, "We heard some Van Halen playing. I am Van Halen," which is not something you say unless you're Eddie or Alex.
Right.
Not even Alex. If you're Eddie, you can say that. So the guys don't recognize him, and they apologize for the noise, and they think he's cranky and complaining, but Dave's like, "Oh, no, like I'm cool, man, I'm cool." Meanwhile, Dave's probably doing more stuff than they're doing, and Dave's in his suit and he's got his meanwhile, and then so he's walking away, and Dave, Dave, he'll make a meal out of anything. So he closes the door and he's like, ha, that was fucking amazing, right? And her assistant's like, that was brilliant, and it's like, oh my god. So I think he was sort of playing off the embarrassment a little bit. I mean, dial back 30, even 20 years ago, David Lee Roth knocks on your hotel room in Vegas and you're having a bachelor party, everybody would go nuts. I mean, that's like, crazy. Maybe they would do that if they saw The Rock today. But David Lee Roth, they're like, who?
Yeah. And, I think he thought that because they were playing Van Halen, they would recognize him.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it was probably just some playlist going.
Right.
And I don't think anyone recognized him.
No.
Or cared.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, what he doesn't realize, because Dave probably lives in his head in the 80s, but I mean, you have to realize, as everybody on this podcast, including you, knows, he's so recognizable to all of us who grew up with him in terms of his voice. I would say his voice is the most recognizable portion of him, because he has that David Lee Roth tone. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when you hear James Earl Jones's voice, oh my God, that's James Earl Jones. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not so much the image of him that you think of as the voice. David Lee Roth has a very distinct voice, and his voice has always been, his talking voice has always been the same. He's got that sort of, cross between Indiana and California accent. He's a character, but I think that was hysterical. I laughed like hell when I saw that. What a funny thing. And I got to give Dave credit, man. He just rolls with it. He doesn't give a fuck.
He does.
He will make a meal out of a crumb and make you think it's incredible. So that I have to give him credit for that. Now, David Lee Roth has been talking about a Vegas residency. He said he's pursuing it. He was at the House of Blues. There's lots and lots of people requesting. He said, "I'm the patron saint of midnight when everybody's guilty of all ages." Now, we all remember the last time Dave had a Vegas residency at the Bally's Hotel and Casino back in 1995, and then he did some gigs at the MGM Grand. It didn't go so good, as my Uncle Tony would say. But who knows what this would entail. My personal feeling is if Dave did a Vegas residency, it wouldn't be like the show we saw in 95 Day, and I don't even think it would be Van Halen related. I think it would be like a circus, kind of like that backyard barbecue thing, that video where it's like,
man, he really needs somebody to rein him in.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I know.
Because if he does whatever he wants to do, it's going to be 97 all over again.
Yeah, that was crazy. So, I tell you, I think he would serve as sort of the MC. He'd probably do some songs, maybe some of his hits, but I think it would be dance-oriented. I think there'd be strange acts. I think there'd be like a hot woman, then a little person running around. I think it would be crazy. It would be all over the place. I think that's what you'd get with Dave. Do you think that's what he would do, Dave, or what do you think?
I'm not going to try and get into that guy's head. I just hope he takes advice, whatever he does.
I'm sure he will. Well,
I'm sure he won't.
I'm sure he won't. Well, of course, we go from one lead singer to the other. And Sammy Hagar has been out on tour, as we all know, and he is on the accident-prone tour, where now we know that Sam's album, Space Between, we actually know what the title means. It was a warning to bassist Mike Anthony and guitarist Vic Johnson that there's a space between the stage and the crowd. But both men fell off the stage at 2 different shows, if you can believe that. And Vic Johnson broke his leg, and the poor guy. And let me tell you something, what a trooper. This guy continued to tour, put it in a cast. They threw a stool underneath him, and he continued to tour. What a trooper. Unbelievable. Michael Anthony, of course, fell off the stage, and he's absolutely fine. Why? Because he's made of rubber. That's why.
Right.
Mike is built like a brick shit house, and nothing's going to happen to Mighty Mike. He was okay because he's been through everything. After the beating Eddie gave him, nothing's going to take this man down. You know what I'm saying?
Right. In fact, they're going to release a DVD of the tour and call it Live and We Need a Nets.
Exactly. That's perfect, yeah. Now, Sammy took his tour to Boston, and in Beantown was a special guest. Well, who could that be? Who do we know from Boston? Aerosmith. Who else is from Boston? Jay Giles Band. Well, it was the 3rd lead singer of Van Halen, and that's Gary Cherone. I tell you, Gary went on stage, and he sang Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll, and he had a really nice response, and they took a nice picture for Instagram backstage with Gary, Mike, and Sammy, the nice guys in Van Halen, all together. Right. And I really think that Extreme and the Circle should tour together. What do you think, Dave?
That would be a good tour.
I really think so. I think it would.
That would be a good tour. That would be a good 1-2 punch. Yes, I agree.
And I think, and Dave disagrees, they should come on stage and do a couple Van Halen 3 songs. What do you think?
I think they should do some Van Halen songs, but I don't think they should do Van Halen 3 songs.
Now, this is coming from a guy who put Without You in his top 20 Van Halen songs of all time.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I like that song.
Yeah.
But if you're asking what is the crowd going to want to hear, that album is not one of them.
Wow.
I mean, I think Gary should come out. Maybe he does Without You. But if he's going on stage with Sammy,
right,
they need to do a Van Hagar song.
Right.
And not When It's Love, because I remember that Gary did that with Sam, and they released it on a Sam's Live album from like 2003-ish.
Right.
And that's just not, I mean, come on, pick something more rockin'.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what I would think. But yeah, I would totally see that double bill.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, Sam and Mike, they've been playing around with Instagram, these guys, and they've been getting some good clips. Backstage, Mike was playing Spinal Tap's Big Bottom. That was backstage at the Boston show, and that was kind of fun. And more importantly, Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony were jamming Good Enough in the dressing room, and they threw that up on Instagram. And come on, guys, put that in the set, you know what I'm saying? I thought that would be fun. But did you get to see that, Dave?
I did see that clip out, and I was like, "Oh man, are these guys going to do it live?"
I know.
Oh, unbelievable if they would. Yes.
And the Circle is getting back on the road towards the end of August. August 23rd, they're going to be in Marysville, Washington, and August 24th, they're going to be at Airway Heights, Washington. Then in September, they're going to be in Lincoln, California, September 27th, and then the 28th and 29th, they'll be at the High Tide Beach Party in Huntington Beach, California, where they would play both days. Before, they were just thinking Sammy's playing one day, but he's playing both days. Okay, then they're extended into November, November 1st. He's playing at St. Augustine, Florida, November 2nd at Estero, Florida. November 5th in the Dominican Republic, and November 9th in Orlando, Florida. So that's nice that the Circle is continuing to roll, Dave. On top of that, Sammy announced his 72nd birthday bash, October 9th, 11th, and 13th, which is his birthday. He's bringing back the Wabos. Mona is getting on her motorcycle right now and heading for the border, Dave. And they're going to be at the Cabo Wabo Cantina in Mexico, and you can go to redrocker.com for ticket information. There's a registry for lottery for tickets. And what do you make of the return of the Wabos?
Oh, well, Sam's always all about getting his friends back together.
Yeah.
And it has, I was looking it up. I'm like, wow, it has been a while.
Yeah.
Since he played with the Wabos. So I'm psyched that they're getting back together. I know the drummer, what's his name?
Oh, David Lauser?
David Lauer.
Yeah.
I know he's had
Lauser,
he's had some rough past few years. I know his wife passed away.
Oh, jeez.
So that had to be rough. But he was the guy. He responded right away.
Wow.
I think it was either on Instagram, some form of social media, and he's like, yeah, Sam just told me today the Wobbles are getting back together. Holy shit. So he was totally psyched for that.
That's good.
I guess the $64,000 question
is
the keyboardist showing up.
Oh, Jesse Harms?
Jesse Harms, because he had left the band at one point on his own.
Right.
So is he coming back?
I don't know.
Are they going to do some Sammy and Wobble songs when he was in the band? That would be cool.
That's true. And on May 15th at the Fillmore in San Francisco, Sammy did an appearance at the 6th annual Acoustic for a Cure. Sammy and friends, they called the band Circlefoot because it was the Circle with Joe Satriani joining them on stage for an acoustic performance of Comfortably Numb, the Pink Floyd song, Sexy Little Thing, which is the Chickenfoot song, No Worries off of Sam's new album, Bottom Line, Can't Hang, and Hey Hey. Another bunch of guests on the bill included Tom Johnson of the Doobie Brothers, Chad Kroeger of Nickelback, Lucas Nelson, Rick Springfield, and Nancy Wilson of Heart. And I saw a clip of it. I prefer these guys electric. I mean, it seemed a little loose and unprepared, Dave. What did you think?
Well, those kind of things usually are.
Yeah.
But I'll give Sam credit that he did Comfortably Numb.
Right.
I mean, I never would have guessed he did that song.
No.
I mean, that was like right out of left field. And they did a pretty decent job of that.
Right.
So I give him full credit for doing something outside his wheelhouse. So that was cool to watch.
Absolutely. And I actually went to a Circle show on May 30th up in Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. I'll give you a little quick report on that. I tell you, I thought the show was fantastic. It really was. Night Ranger opened the show with a solid 50-minute set of hits. It was tremendous. They had a really cool set this time. They had like video panels, which were huge. There's a little production money thrown into there. That's for sure. Sammy was in great voice. He looked great. Of course, whenever he shouted out the songs, he got the years wrong. There's only one way to rock, 1982. No, I'm sorry, buddy, And then Three Lock Box, 1983. No, I'm sorry, buddy. But he was dancing around like a kid, and he was raising toast, and he was calling him and Mike the other brothers. And then, Dave, I thought this was a ballsy move. So they played Pound Cake, and of course they announced it from 1992, which is wrong, whatever. So they play the Pound Cake video on the screen, but they did a little funny business. So they put it through like a filter, one of these filters that you'd see like on Instagram or something, where it makes them look like a cartoon, so it didn't look like it was the actual video put through a filter. And they showed clips of Ed. Which I thought was weird, and so that was kind of interesting. And he said, "Oh, we're back," and apparently they recorded some of their live album the last time they were at Foxwoods, and we were at that show.
Right? Yes, they did.
Yeah. Now, of course, Vic was in a cast, and he was seated on a stool. But let me tell you something, that didn't slow this guy down. He played like an animal, especially during Rock Candy, and him and Jason were fucking phenomenal. It was really incredible, and they played Can't Drive 55. Mike was getting wild. He was singing half the song, and he was really getting animated. Mike had his own corner there with all kinds of drinks, and they even put his logo up on his corner of the stage. I mean, it's obvious that they're trying to make Mike more prominent, and there was way more Van Halen in the set than there has been before. They got rid of all the Zeppelin stuff with the exception of one tune. I tell you, he really is embracing the whole Van Hagar era, that's for sure. Funny thing is, hey Dave, I thought this was funny. You know how he does that thing during Finish What You Started when he's like, I need some pussy? I said, it's 71, you might want to change that lyric. It's a little strange that he's doing that. Funny thing is, listen to what he did, Dave. So this is how Van Halen the show was. So he's doing Right Now. They actually recreated the Right Now video concept. They didn't use the same shots. They didn't use the same words. So they just took the concept and they would do stuff like this.